It's Life with Tanya, and I'm back with another 2 Cent Tuesday where I share my thoughts and opinions on trending topics regarding relationships and relationship issues. So this week's topic is a lot to talk about. So I hope I don't get tongue-tied or twisted over my words. So let me get into the screenshot that started this mess. So my topic is, does the location of a first date determines the success of your relationship? And so here's the screenshot that was posted. The lady says, we met on a dating site and had our first date at a coffee shop with live music. He put his phone on the table just to check the football scores, which is a yellow flag in her opinion. About 20 minutes later, I noticed that he is swiping on the dating site across the table from me. Then he left the date early. Guess I wasn't interesting enough for him. This was after we FaceTimed about 2 or 3 times and thought we were very compatible. So the platform that this was posted to, the lady is trying to insinuate that this woman, because she deserved the type of date that she got based on the location of the date. And she's also insinuating that this woman doesn't know her self-worth based on the expense of the date. And so the majority of the women in the comment section, they were agreeing with her, sharing their experiences and opinions about men who suggest coffee dates are either broke or cheap. And then some said that men who suggest coffee dates or ask you to go on a coffee date, he has no interest in you. Now, this comment completely blew my mind, because if a man invited you to go anywhere, then obviously he's interested in you. But other comments were saying that coffee date is simply an opener to see if there's compatibility. Another comment said that coffee dates has a low cost risk in case the two people meeting are not compatible. And then, of course, there's my comment. I agree with another commenter by saying that I personally prefer coffee dates because I feel emotionally safe and relaxed. Now, this does not mean I don't ever want to go on a fine dining date or an expensive date, because I'm definitely a fine dining type of woman. But expensive dates, in my opinion, expensive first dates, they set the tone that this is a transactional type of relationship. And most men who lavishly spends on the first date, he's looking for more than just conversation. And most times, he's looking to see if him and his date is sexually compatible. Now, once sex is involved, now they're working backwards to determine compatibility outside of the bedroom. And then what also shapes my opinion is based on my history with emotional abuse. Men who want to lead with their money is usually trying to cover up some type of character flaw. He may be emotionally unavailable, he may have an avoidant personality, and of course he may be a narcissist or a psychopath. But now, these are just my views and opinions. It's not intended to tear any woman down. This is not this type of platform. But if you prefer a transactional relationship with less love and emotion, then by all means, do what you do. But some men, they actually prefer a transactional relationship as well. And that is until they now need emotional support, or they no longer want to feel used just for their money. But when we go back to the screenshot that was taken from Facebook, 99% of the commenters, including the page owner who posted the screenshot, they completely missed the overall message in this message, I believe. The woman had a bad first date experience with someone she was virtually compatible with. She took this experience to the internet to gain insight on why this guy did what he did, which was invited her out for coffee and then at some point pull out his phone and started scrolling on the dating site. So I'm assuming the woman must have liked him at some point. She got a little bit of some type of attraction was going on. But overall, this left her confused and maybe even caused a little dent in her ego. And so that's why she took to the internet with this situation. Now, while 99% of the commenters are blaming the behavior of the man based on the setting of the date, I believe the location of the date had absolutely nothing to do with what happened in this situation. This woman took her experience to the internet because she is internalizing the actions of this date and using it to determine her value and her self-worth. She wants the internet to explain why this guy did what he did, which again invited her out to a coffee shop. At some point, lost interest, started swiping on his dating site, and left the date early. Now, granted, swiping on a dating site while sitting across from your date, that's jerk behavior. There's nothing that can validate that. But overall, at some point, he discovered that he was no longer compatible with her and decided to cut his time short on the date. Now, because this was a coffee date, what should have happened was this woman should have continued to enjoy her free coffee and pastries, emotionally detached from this experience, and get back on the dating app if that's what she chose to do. But let me give you this example of a expensive date. Say, for example, if this was a $200 steakhouse dinner date. You are vibing with this guy who is dressed nice, smells even nicer, and the two of you are, y'all have a drink or two. So now the sexual chemistry is warming up. Now, as the night goes on, you think everything is well, you guys are compatible, laughing, talking. But as the night goes on, something happened, and the man's energy just completely shifted. So the date ends, you guys go back home. He doesn't call or text to make sure that you made it in safely. He doesn't call and check on you the next day. And eventually days go by before you even hear from him again, or you don't hear from him at all. So now this normally leaves the woman confused because, this guy just spent $200-$300 on a date. It was at a very fancy, swanky location. You guys had sexual chemistry, great personality, laughs, whatever. But what ends up happening after these situations where the man just goes ghost, or now all of a sudden appears like he's not interested, the woman is stuck in these emotional type of state. Like, she's emotionally stuck because she allowed this man money to distract her from things that she should have been paying attention to. So instead of asking him important questions about his education or family dynamics or how he spends his time and the project that he's invested in, most women are probably focused on how much money he makes, how often do he take his vacations, what type of car he drives, or how many cars he owns. Now, don't get me wrong, money is an important factor in any relationship. Like any relationship, money is an important factor. So, but if you are looking for everlasting love, you need more than just money. I believe we should be focused on compatibility, mutual interests, character, work ethic, and how disciplined the guy is in his personal routines and whatnot. But you can identify the answer to these questions in any setting, whether you guys go to a coffee type date or a steakhouse type of date. Whether you go to an expensive date or a cheap date is what I'm trying to say. So you can get the answer to these questions at any dating setting that you prefer. But I took it as the woman who posted the screenshot, this man's behavior probably triggered her abandonment or attachment wound, which is the main focal point of the message. Like, if you're going to analyze her screenshot, then that's what should be analyzed, is the fact that her abandonment wounds or attachment wounds has been triggered. Because again, it was a coffee date, which means that there was low emotional risk involved, low finances involved, just the in and out type of interaction to establish compatibility. And so the date did what it needed to do. They met up with each other, and he, for whatever reason, was no longer compatible with her. And that's okay. But the women are just saying, in this particular Facebook situation, the women were basically saying that, it's the type of date as to why the date wasn't successful. But no, this lady has some issues with abandonment, and she, instead of internalizing her issues with abandonment, she's internalizing, why he did what he did. But, don't get me wrong, the guy's still a jerk, but again, you can meet a jerk at an expensive date as well. It depends on our focus of the date and what are you trying to get from that experience, whether it's transactional or you trying to establish mutual compatibility and take the relationship further. But here's your chance to deposit your 2 cents in the comments. Let us know, does the location or the type of first date determine the success of your relationship? Share your reasons why or why not. And if you enjoy this type of content, feel free to like, share, subscribe, get your other friends in on the conversation, and then come back to see what we talk about next week. Until next time.